Hey guys, it's me Simi, or Octave, whichever one you prefer, and we're here to talk about if Creed 3 is a great story or parable. Here we're going to learn about what strengthens and weakens Adonis in this trilogy saga, and the people around him in a mental, physical, emotional and a spiritual way. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Share it too if you can. Here I'll post some film music and videos like these. If you want me to do any other films, please do leave them in the comments. So, let's get into the video. Young Adonis, growing and learning without a father, stunted his mental growth. Factors such as this include humility, dealing with pressure, and balancing strength and tenderness. These are principles he simply did not know because he wasn't taught due to a lack of parental love. We're brought to Proverbs 13 verse 24, and it says, "He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him quickly." It's very clear that Adonis, till his late adolescent stages, did not receive any form of love due to the untimely death of his biological mother and father. No systems of discipline were installed in him from an early age, so it caused him to serve some time in a juvie center. Discipline is a form of love because it shows a parent really cares for his child's future. Now, for the mental side of things, child bereavement is when a child loses a figure of importance in their life. Traits of this unfortunate situation can cause sadness, confusion, and anger. One person that fell victim to this was Joseph in Genesis. He lost his mother and his father, but not by death, but by being sold into slavery by his brothers, and his experience could have caused all the symptoms above. Marianne, being the widowed wife of the late Apollo Creed, took Adonis in. Through inheritance of Apollo's wealth, Marianne was able to raise Adonis in a more comfortable space. Many years later, Adonis now finally knows his identity through his father. His father was Apollo Creed, former heavyweight champion of the world, and from that moment he knew he wanted to pursue his destiny into fighting. As believers in Jesus Christ, it's imperative we find our identity in our Father, because that's the day we realize our future is certain. Things we did when we were young starts to make us believe that we've been called from the get-go, and the moment we find our identity in our Father, we know the work we have to carry out because we saw traits of it when we were younger. As Adonis grows up, he's not really encouraged down the vocation of fighting. However, on the weekends he'd fight in Mexico in amateur bouts to sharpen his skill. Being a boxer, he was able to rack up 15 wins and 0 losses. Whilst there is comfortability in his job, he ditches it to go fighting in the squared ring. Similarly, we see this in the Gospels, where the disciples of Jesus put down their day jobs and really followed their destinies. Confidence is one of the biggest traits of being a masculine man, but when it's substituted for arrogance, a humbling is right around the corner. In the book of Proverbs 11 verses 2, it says, "When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom." In Adonis' start, he is deemed as hot-headed due to him gambling his keys to the car, but as a result, someone knocks him out, and that's Danny Wheeler. Instead of giving up on his dream, Adonis now goes to seek mentorship from his late father's friend, Rocky. When Creed asks Rocky to train him, he is rejected, but due to persistence, Rocky gives in and takes him in. Adonis has huge amounts of potential, and one of his biggest attributes is having the ability to endure hardship. In Galatians 6 verse 9, it is stated, "Let us not grow weary or become discouraged in doing good, for the proper time will reap if we do not give in." And Adonis embodies that perfectly as he's tracing his dream to become a champion. Catharsis is a term to describe the process of releasing strong emotions such as anger, fear, or sadness physically. In theory, this means Adonis doesn't have to face them, as he can just take his emotions out on a punching bag. This is where the real supporting role of Bianca comes in. She brings out the good in Adonis and tries to make him talk about his feelings instead of acting on them. And quite frankly, Adonis is real comfortable with being soft around her, and she teaches him stoicism indirectly. Towards the end of the film, Adonis' real surname, Creed, has now leaked to the public, and it causes him to fight through mental and physical pressure. Come the end of the fight against Ricky Conlon, he shows great heart despite being knocked down, and propels him to be motivated to knowing that he's not close enough being done in the ring. In the trilogy of the Creed saga, we're now in Creed 3. We fast forward to Adonis retiring from boxing after previously retaining the titles of light heavyweight and heavyweight champion of the world. His daughter's older, and now he's married to Bianca, and his new purpose is training the next up. When finishing up one day, he bumps into an old friend, Damian Anderson. Teenagehood friends from a foster home. They unfortunately get into some trouble as Damian pulls out a gun on the ex-foster parent who used to physically harm them. Adonis runs away, but through this act of misdemeanor, Damian serves 18 years behind bars, whilst Adonis achieves great things as a pro fighter. During the 18 years that Damian served in prison, he would often send letters to Adonis, but he didn't get one single reply. This would be because Marianne would hide them from him to make Adonis forget about his past, and she saw Damian as a bad influence on young Creed. After coming out of prison, Damian expresses his jealousy towards Adonis by asking him a shortcut to success. In Proverbs, it even says, "Desire without knowledge is not good, and whoever makes haste will miss his way." With that being said, Adonis has been sold a story which Damian has told him, and now he feels guilt and compassion for what happened in the past. Adonis is in the middle of finalizing a heavyweight bout, but things take an unexpected turn as Victor Drago sustains a hand injury. Anderson now fights Chavez and gives him a beatdown and takes all the titles away. In Anderson's victory, he becomes proud, and the tentacles of self-exaltation start to squeeze him. He hasn't truly learned what it means to be broken as a professional, which does hinder his performance later on. This is something that Adonis has learned from the early years in the sport. Adonis knew this, but he still gave him the title shot anyways, to see if it would patch yesterday's wounds. Again, now going through memory lane, Adonis still can't talk about his emotions, and therefore takes it out on now his late mother, wife and child, Amara and Bianca. Now through the acts of his youth, he now realizes that his past mistakes have come back to haunt him, and he must face them head on. In life, I'm sure at one point we will feel some sort of survivor's guilt. Some people that we haven't seen in years, whether it's primary school, high school, even college or university, they now pop back up in our lives. And in your head you're thinking, this ain't the guy that he used to be, or this ain't the person that she used to be. As human beings, we have to come to the realization and conclusion that saving everybody is impossible. Self-accountability as human beings is very important. We learned this from Damian, as he thought he was owed a favor through his acts of misconduct, but really, no one owed him anything because he had to earn his own stripes. Well, in conclusion, we must learn how to deal with trauma and guilt in the right way. In Isaiah 41 verses 10, it says, "I will strengthen you and help you with my righteous right hand." Fear can't overtake us, but God is all-powerful and offering all the help we can need. Well, with that being said, we have reached the end of the video. Even if it's just one thing that you learned from this video, I really appreciate it. You know, if you can subscribe and like the channel, that would be really cool too. If you can follow me on social media platforms, OctaveXL, I really appreciate that too. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.